Hey guys, Damien. All right, so to pick up from the last video, we started talking about Alex Odeh, this guy who was an American who was killed in 1985, and there was three suspects involved. That first suspect I talked about, Robert Manning, he's the only criminal of all. And you guys don't know how many crimes I've researched, but I will get into a lot of them in the future. Not all of them, but a lot of them. But this Robert Manning was the only one who got extradited from Israel to America. And I already talked about him, but the next video is suspect number 2 of 3 suspects regarding the Alex Odeh case. Now, guys, this is a live fugitive, okay? The FBI still wants this guy. They will offer $1 million for Keith Israel Fuchs, Fuchs. I think that's how you pronounce it. I want to pronounce it the other way, but anyways, Keith Israel Fuchs, born in Brooklyn, New York, Zionist, born in Brooklyn. There's a theme. And I said that since like the very beginning. He would later move to Santa Monica, California in 1978. This guy, you guys, I want you guys to understand something. One thing I was wrong about, by the way, the Black Panthers were a terrorist group, but that was for a brief moment of time. So I talk about like KKK, skinheads, Aryan Brotherhood, Black Panthers, how none of them were terrorist group, but the JDL are. Well, for a brief moment of time, the Black Panthers were, but that was they being the Black Panthers started in 1966, and they ended in the early 70s. Okay, they were also focused more so in like the New York area, and so they did not last very long. Their maximum members were like 2,000 to 5,000 people. KKK, I looked into that, by the way. Right now, they're fragmented. They're anywhere from 3,000 to 8,000 people max. But you look into the JDL, it says 15,000, but I actually know that number is much larger. But even still, it still says that the JDL has more people than the Black Panthers and the KKK. And like, you didn't hear about them until I started talking about them. And just last week, there was flyers out in Queens about the JDL. And a few weeks before that, FBI arrested somebody from the JDL with 10 Molotov cocktails. So anyways, you guys need to understand that, like, think about the mafia in the New York, like in the 60s and stuff, how intimidating the mafia was. Well, the JDL has been around longer than the Black Panthers. The Black Panthers have long been removed from the terrorist watch list of the FBI. However, the JDL, as of today, for 26 years straight, are still an active, considered an active domestic terrorist organization, which I just said they were just busted recently with 10 Molotov cocktails here in the States, in New York. So these crimes that I'm talking about, these are not like petty crimes and like a small group of people. This is the most dangerous group that you never heard of, that I never heard of in my entire life. But these are crimes you need to know about. So anyways, Keith Israel Fuchs, wanted for murder, fled Israel. Let me go backwards. Before we get to the murder, he was born in Brooklyn, moved to Santa Monica in 78 after high school. He would later, while he was in California, he would be intimidating Orthodox Jews who would refuse to divorce their wives due to religious law. So this Zionist would pick on Jews. That's how these people are. That's when I say that Jews in America need to unite. There's a lot of Jews who understand how extreme these people are and don't agree with them. And to those Jews, I want you to know, I have your back. I agree. These guys are way too extreme. So, Fuchs would later move to Israel in 1982, and he would live in an illegal settlement in West Bank, where he would upgrade his crimes of intimidation and extortion to now he's shooting inside cars of Arabs. That happened in 1983. It got him a 39-month jail sentence. Now, check this out. This guy, who you've never heard of, who's wanted by the FBI, Israel said, look, we'll reduce your sentence from 39 months to 22 if you go back to America. Because remember, this guy was born in America, went to Israel, started doing crimes. Israel said, no, go back to America. So he did. He said, yeah, I'll take 17 months less off my sentence. So he goes to the U.S., and him, along with Robert Manning and the other third suspect, they kill Alex Odeh via bombs. And apparently, Fuchs was investigated by the FBI in connection to several bombings in the U.S. All of these bombings, I want you guys to understand, I have hinted before, if you haven't watched my videos, there is a 9/11 connection that I had no intention of running into. And so when you understand all the context of all these JDL crimes of the most extreme racist group of my lifetime that you never heard of until you started watching my videos, these guys have a long list of crimes, and they are serious crimes. So anyways, Fuchs, after the Alex Odeh case, when they knew the FBI was on to him, and the FBI was already watching him for several bombings, he decided to go back to Israel. and he's been living in a settlement. And here's the thing: $1 million bounty. If you guys want to get rich, I know where he is. He's in a settlement in the West Bank called Kiryat Arba, in particular Mala Adumin, and he's been over there for 3 decades, living openly. And he actually has been having private political meetings as well with Israel's far right. So, one of 3 suspects got extradited under the conditions no death penalty, and they cannot charge him for Alex Odeh because the other guy he got extradited because he was doing bomb crimes in the 70s, and another bomb crime that resulted in death of Patricia Wilkerson. Israel said, all right, United States, you can have him, but just don't give him the death penalty. That happened, and then under Biden's presidency, he got paroled, and now he's a free man. The second suspect, the guy I just talked about, Keith Fuchs, he fled to Israel to avoid prosecution. Now, here's what's messed up. Damien, you know his name, you know his settlement, you know the city, you even know the village he's in. Why don't we go get him? Here's what's super disheartening. It's easier to find out where this guy's living and to actually set up a meeting with him than it is to get the FBI to get Israel an extradition request. Guys, our United States government has not ever once requested an extradite for 2 of the suspects that fled to Israel. Why? Why would we allow Zionists from Israel, who are not even from Israel, they just have connections to Israel, why would it allow them to kill Americans on American soil and allow them to go to Israel, and we won't even ask Israel if they can send them back and we can try them? Why are you hearing this story from me and no one else? Remember, there's a 3rd suspect, and when I talk about him, Andy Green, a.k.a. Baruch Ben Yosef, there's going to be some Trump references because this extreme Zionist with his terrorist background and crimes, some of the crimes that this man was trying to do involving important monuments, religious monuments in Israel. Trump is trying to make some political plans that will go right in line with these terrorist ideologies. I want you guys to know that. So, again, Keith Israel Fuchs, Kiryat Arba Mahmoud Adumin. I said that off memory. That's where he's living at, $1 million bounty. But I think we need to work on trying to get an extradition request first. And unfortunately, getting that from our own U.S. government is going to be more difficult than finding where this guy is. Please put in the comment section why you think that's justified. Do you think that's the way the American system should work, where an American gets killed and then they flee to another country and we won't even ask that country to give them back, but we will give that country billions and billions of dollars? Make that make sense. Part 3 of this Alex Odeh series coming up, and again, the common theme, it only gets worse. But it's going to be, wait until you hear about some of this guy's crimes and the stuff he's been attached to coming up next.